Hey, what is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I is, the good doc, Dr. Mike. Back again, once again, with a more entertaining, interesting video for you guys today. Sincerely hope everybody's blessed and sincerely hope everybody's having a good day. Alright. I did a video entitled The Crazy Money Scam Story at the Remittance Center. Now, I want you guys to understand that when I put out videos like this, it is simply for edutainment. I want to educate you, but I also want to entertain you, throw in some quirky shit, you know, make you laugh a little bit. But I have come across a bunch of videos that were talking about being scammed by Filipinas. A lot of guys, of course, talking about how they were scammed by Filipinas and how Filipinas are the worst and all of this shit. But I often wonder, should us as foreigners ignore all of these money scam stories? I repeat, should us as foreigners ignore or avoid listening to all of these money scam stories? Now, I'm going to try to approach this particular situation from a non-biased standpoint. I'm going to talk about it from both perspectives, how I make videos pertaining to the same topics and how I've seen other people make videos pertaining to the same topic, okay? How can I say this? I've seen videos on YouTube, quite a few, where they are just reaming and going in on Filipinas, talking about how they're just all gold diggers and all scammers and how the world is just fucked up and turned upside down in the Philippines, how all these girls just want from you is your money and they don't want to love you and all that shit. I've heard it all. Guys, I've heard it all. And I feel like when those guys go that hard, they're really doing a disservice to everybody else. I mean, they're not even giving, you know, the opposite end of the spectrum, the positive of what actually happened in the relationship. It was just all negative all the time. So basically anybody who's ever been scammed or anybody who's ever had an issue with a female in the Philippines, whether it played out on their YouTube channels or not, what you tend to realize is, if you trace it back as far as YouTube is concerned, if there are YouTubers like heavy in the game, you can trace back to where things went wrong with the relationship because you can see a change in their content and videos. But if it's just somebody popping up talking about why you shouldn't date Filipinas and all of this shit, what it's going to do is it's going to create a false narrative in the minds of those who have never been to the Philippines and those that have never dated Filipinas before. It's going to create a false narrative if all you're doing is talking about the negative of what happened in the situation. You know, again, I'm the type of person that I feel that if things go wrong, you have to look at self first. I've said that time and time again. I'll say it one more time. Before you go out there and start shitting on everybody else, you got to kind of look at where you fucked up too. You know, of course the girl's going to have her mistakes too. I'm not going to sit there and act like she's innocent in the situation, but when it comes to these guys making these money scam stories and being, you know, cheated on or whatever it may be, what you're hearing is all of what the girl did and not necessarily what they did. That's what I'm trying to focus on here. When it comes to the reasons why I feel you should possibly ignore these videos is because all you're hearing is what the girl did and not necessarily what he did. If a guy is willing to openly accept the fact that he actually did something wrong, then I believe that you can listen and take some of what they say into consideration, because at the end of the day, they're telling you what they did wrong so that you don't make the same mistakes that they did. That's what I like to preach in my very own videos. Again, some of you guys may know this, some of you guys may not, but I did get scammed one time. There was one story that I actually put out a YouTube video for, talking about the time that I got scammed. And many of you remember it. It was funny. It got pretty decent view count. I don't know where it is now, but, you know, a lot of people paid attention to that story, and a lot of people had things to say. But ultimately, if you read the comment section, everybody basically said, you know, it's a learning experience. It's probably going to happen to the majority of men, but you have to take it with a grain of salt and keep moving forward. I kind of feel like the guys who make these money scam, gold digging stories about Filipinas, about why you shouldn't date Filipinas, probably had that one situation happen, and it kind of ruined it for them overall. I had a conversation with a friend yesterday, and I want to include this because I believe it really does make a lot of sense. He was telling me a story about how he was in a situation with a young lady, and everything was going well. He thought it was good, and then come to find out something dramatic happened in their relationship. Now again, he was dating around, you know, he was having his fun, you know, he was talking to 2 or 3 other girls, but you know, when you find somebody you vibe with, or somebody that's really like your type, you really wanted to work out with them, right? So let me put it into a hierarchical spectrum for you guys. So he was talking to 3 other women, but above those 3 other women was one girl that he really, really liked. Something happened between him and the girl that he really, really liked, and basically she ended up, for lack of a better term, breaking his heart. And I don't give a fuck how hard you are, how much of a player you are. If you vibe with somebody and you feel you have good chemistry with somebody, if that girl does something to hurt you, it's going to break your heart. You could give a fuck about what these other girls do that you're dealing with, because they're just here and there, and they're just, you know, they can come and they can go, but the one that you sticking with, the one that you vibing with, is the one you want to keep. And when they do something wrong to you, that breaks your heart. And ultimately, I feel these guys who make these money scam, gold digging stories that should probably be ignored, basically got their heart broken. I don't give a fuck how hard you think you are, but ultimately I think that that's pretty much what it is. It's a lot of guys who are dealing with a bunch of heartbreak. And because they're dealing with a bunch of heartbreak, it really puts life into a perspective that they're not used to. They're expecting that, you know, because they're foreign, that these women are going to bow down and it's just going to be that way and that way only. And when it doesn't work out that way, they're pretty much in their feelings, okay? So, like I said, the money scam story that I put out about a girl trying to get me to send money so that she could come visit me instead of me having to go see her, and then all of the shit that happened in between there, what ended up happening with that situation, as I told you, I learned from it. I had to. I lived in the Philippines, guys. This isn't no 2-week vacation shit for me. I lived here at the time, so it was like, either I get over it or I just fucking, you know, or I just become what you see a lot of these guys on YouTube doing, crying about how Filipinas are the worst and crying about how Filipinas aren't shit. You know, I'm gonna become one of those guys, and I don't want you to become one of those guys, okay? Let me be honest with you. For those guys who have never dated Filipinas, for those guys who have never been in a relationship with a Filipino online or whatever, for those people who have never come to the Philippines at all, a lot of people are gonna watch these videos about how Filipinos are scammers and gold diggers and, you know, all of this shit. They're going to watch these videos and they're basically going to draw a conclusion based off of these particular videos. They're not even going to give themselves the chance to get into a relationship of their own. They're not even going to give themselves the chance to get into a relationship where they can figure it out for themselves. They're automatically going to take what these people say in these videos and just go with it. They're just gonna be like, all right, man, well, he said this, man, he said that Filipina did that, and he said that Filipina did this, and all of a sudden it's just gonna be like, why do I want to deal with these women if I've seen this guy here tell me all of the things that I don't want to hear about the woman that I'm trying to be with? Basically, you're turning off a lot of guys from even giving it a chance. That's why I feel like, to an extent, you guys should really ignore these money scam stories and draw your own conclusions based off of your own particular situations. Because a lot of guys, guys have messaged me on frequent occasions. I mean, you would be surprised, man. A lot of guys come at me talking about, Doc, man, I watched this YouTube video of this guy talking about how Filipinas ain't nothing, how you should just run through them because they don't care about you and all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, look, it's up to you. It truly does depend on what you're looking for. If you're truly trying to live that bachelor's life, I can't really tell you what to do. You do as you please. But if you're looking for like a serious relationship or something that you can see yourself in long term, you have to give yourself a chance. Hold on, plane's coming over. But you have to give yourself in that particular relationship a chance, B. You gotta give it a chance. If you don't give it a chance, what can I tell you? You know, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? We can sit here and listen to these guys bitch and moan all day long about money scam stories and how this Filipina did this, that, and the other and all of this shit. But that's not your situation. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that your situation? Hell no, that's that man's situation. You don't know what he's like off camera. Unless that's your bestie. Unless that's like your best friend and you've known him forever. You don't know how he was in a relationship. You don't know if he was really aggressive with the Filipina. You don't know if he was really an asshole to her. You know, treating her bad because that's a third world country and he comes from a first world. You don't know the situation. So for you to sit there and take everything that he said into consideration and not actually go through the situation yourself, I mean, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. You know, that's kind of what I wanted to preach here, and that's kind of the point that I wanted to get to in reference to, should you ignore these stories that you hear from these other guys? You know, I really want you guys to take that into consideration, because I know deep down in my heart of hearts, like, you know, I do those videos to edutain. I'm saying that one more time to get it out the way. I want to educate you on things that you should look out for. I want to entertain you simply because I think most of these stories are funny. And to be honest with you, that's kind of the stories these guys want to hear anyways, all right? So I say that to say this, ladies and gentlemen. Should you ignore these money scam stories that you hear on YouTube and all of that other shit? To give you an honest answer, take everything that these men say with a grain of salt. I would say take what they said in the situation to heart, but don't actually feel like it's going to be applicable to every situation, okay? I want you to understand that, yes, they may have gone through it, and yes, they may have really been, you know, taken advantage of and taken to the ringer and whatnot. But ultimately, I feel like in my heart of hearts, and I keep saying that you have to pick and choose the information that you take from it. And I think that you should watch, you know, if it's something that you're really interested in as a topic, you should watch multiple videos on the topic so that you can actually pinpoint things that are similar in every story. You know, okay, so he says that he did this or whatever, she did that to him, and it started out this way, started out for asking for some smaller amounts, and then it got larger. Whatever it may be, take whatever they say into consideration, but take it with a grain of salt and understand that that is not your situation, all right? Never allow anybody else's situation to determine or dictate your very own, okay? And I think that's my parting words for today. This has been The Good Doc, Dr. Mike TV. With that being said, The Good Doc is officially out. Alis nako, paalam, which means we're going out. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Mahal kita, mabuhay. Peace.